What was that? What? What's that sound? Where? It's aliens and they're living in your town. Damn. They have arrived. What? They're all around. So many aliens living in your town. Are you scared?
Hello, weirdos out there in Weirdo Land. It's me, Jay Bird, and I got the whole crew. The band is back together. A Sweet Denny's. Can I get a hell yeah?
Hell yeah.
We got a Becky. Can I get a hell yeah?
Hell the F yeah.
Vicky, can I get a hell yeah?
Nobody's doing it for me.
I know.
I did it for everybody.
I know. Hell yeah, Vicky. All right, everybody.
Jeez.
Great to see you all. Great to have you all. People are already in the chat room, and let's get right into it. Oh, by the way, happy Cinco de Mayo. If you're time marking this and making some notes at home, it is Cinco de Mayo 2022. I always feel like one day it's all going to go down Mad Max style, and there's going to be these files that are out there, and someone in, I don't know, 1,500 years Denny's is going to come up and go, what is this? Hey, it's the Weird Whatever podcast, Cinco de Mayo 2022. Just a man with a pipe dream over here, Denny's?
Nah, I could see that in the future if it's dystopian and people find a way, I guess, to restore technology and then get access to all the past stuff.
Maybe we should do a KVJ show time capsule.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. I know I brought it up to y'all about wanting to do a Weird and Whatever or a KVJ time capsule. And I can't remember what you said, Vicky, being our educator. Is the time capsule thing, are the kids not jiving with that anymore? Because that was such a big deal for me as a kid.
There's a whole era that loved time capsules.
Yeah, it's not really mentioned, or we haven't done one at school in like forever.
Here's the thing about time capsules is it's like an investment in the bank account. You hate when you do it. You're excited when you open it in 30 years,
Absolutely.
Right? So time capsules, when they're inserted, are very anticlimactic. But the opening of it, I think, is awesome. I think people get real into it.
Counterpoint, I'm going to disagree, Becky. The beginning part of the time capsule as a kid was a big fucking deal. Now, keep in mind, little kid, this is the era of, I think, more imagination. I'm not trying to dog the youth of today, but I do think you are forced to kind of, there was more of a sense of wonderment.
And make-believe.
Make-believe, wonderment, whimsy would be another word I would use.
Well, you get jaded quick because you can look up the answer of anything, so there's no, you don't have any cloud. It was cool if you remembered or knew cool knowledge when we were younger.
What if everyone had a time capsule that had a date that would be opened when they pass, and it had stuff in it that was a surprise? So say you picked out
That's a pretty good idea.
Say you picked out your cemetery lot, and say all of us, we did our own time capsule, and we put some cool things that we want our friends and family and listeners to remember. And if and when we pass, whether hopefully that's a long time from now, people get to open it up, and they get to see all the stuff you put in it when you were 40 years old.
I like it.
I think it's a great idea, Beckett. I think maybe you can get with a partnership, maybe possibly a business meeting.
There
I
you
like
go.
it. Yeah,
I like it.
Vicky, do you get why some people would be jazzed up for a time capsule, or as an adult, is that something like who gives a fuck?
I guess it depends on the adult, and how much you'd be excited. I would like to see, if I did one, I would have loved to have done it as a kid and then open it as an adult. So there has to be a time span where I'm seeing the stuff. It's kind of like opening up an old diary, that you did when you were in elementary school and looking at it later. Mm-hmm. So for me to get the full payout, I'd have to have done it early on and then open it as an adult.
I have a friend. She's in her late 50s. She's a Wellington client and friend. And her dad, about 30-some years ago, did a time capsule for her and her sisters.
Oh, that's such a good
and
idea.
I think they're like a year away from being able to open it. And he's since passed and all that. They're so excited about opening it.
Yeah, I just remember that the things that really jazzed me up as a kid that I remember, because, I'm in my mid-40s now and all the memories kind of start to bleed together, but there are some that still cut through. And as a kid, time capsule shit, Mexican pizza. And I'm not even trying to be timely of Cinco de Mayo. Yeah. The Mexican pizza in the public school system back in, I would say, 1985. I know I sound like in my day, but holy shitballs, man. They knew how to make a Mexican pizza, Denny's.
Yeah, they did.
Didn't they bring that back on Taco Bell recently?
No, that's
nothing's the same as it was, though.
I'm talking
a school one.
I'm talking about that. Was it an octagon or it was a hexagon?
Well, they had them in different. At one point, we had rectangle shaped ones, and then they had the more rounded ones. And
I was a
and
big
whatever.
rectangle pizza public school lunch guy. That's what we talked about, the ketchup on it. Oh,
Oh man, I think about I think about public school lunches from when I was a kid, and my mouth salivates.
I got that MacArthur's chocolate milk, and
Yeah.
you had the tray where everything fit perfectly,
Yeah.
including the rectangle pizza. It was so good.
Oh, I would fuck up a tater tot.
No
A-
vegetables inside.
A public school system tater tot chocolate milk combo. Can I get a fuck yeah?
I always
Fuck
did
yeah.
French fries with ranch dressing and hot sauce mixed. That was like my school lunch.
And a rule that was weird, and I know I've talked about this before. Clearly, it stayed with me. You weren't allowed to get the salad bar. So you could get a pizza,
Oh,
a hamburger. No, along with, you could get a burger and you could get the salad bar, but you had to be in 4th grade or higher.
Oh,
So if you're in
weird.
3rd grade, like, fuck you. No salad bar for you, kid.
Weird.
Vicky, as an educator, what's with that?
Because 3rd graders and below are animals, and you don't want them at the salad bar. We
Oh,
one
yeah.
time when I first started working at our school, we had a salad bar. What a nightmare!
Did they just
no,
throw it everywhere?
No. Oh, it was horrible.
They probably use so much dressing too.
It was horrible.
God, that makes me sick.
I was a
man.
big French dressing. I think I used to mix French dressing with ranch dressing.
dressing.
Oh, it's so good.
Oh,
I think you like French.
Oh, dude.
You two might be the only people I know that like
Again,
French dressing.
I love the public school system French dressing so much. There was a time I found a fucking spider in my salad,
Oh, God.
and I powered through it.
Just brushed it
'cause
to
I was
the
all
side.
about that French, baby.
Just brushed it to the side.
I was
Damn.
all about that French.
And it was like barely still good, like iceberg lettuce that you had to pour it on.
I swear, we all did not smoke a Wonder Joint before
my
the
God,
pod.
I know,
Well,
right?
well, only maybe half of us did.
and we're being
We gave-
interrogated.
We gave the audience their own time capsule, reverse style.
You're right. So if we do, if it all goes down, Mad Max and it's Armageddon Denny's, and this file comes up and say, I don't know, 600 years.
Well, what kind of sucks, I guess, is if everything becomes virtual. We were talking about the Oculus Rift earlier. That if for people,
Yeah.
it's that VR unit you can buy, and it's got all sorts of new things where they're doing virtual meetings now. You have your own virtual workspace.
I just bought a couple. It's gonna
They're
be
the best.
It's gonna be the rot of society.
So in the future, if somebody stumbles upon our old technology and we don't have the same plugs or technology, I don't know. What can you do with it? It's not like relics we find now where they actually had tools and had to build things that are larger.
I'm basically thinking this is an 80s movie, and you're going to be able to plug it into some kind of secret input,
I hear you. I
and
hear you.
it's all going to come off right there. No, I hear you. No, you're right.
But yeah, I mean, everything's digital now.
The VR space, I just got Oculus last week. You know where we talk about how social media did some great things and does some bad things?
Yeah.
It's going to do some great things for collaboration, workspace, fun game stuff. It's going to do some really bad things.
I talked about it before. I think there is a lot. No, we're talking about the Noculus thingy, right? Yeah, I think there is a place in the world for it for
Yeah.
mental health.
Oh, 100%.
And for all kind of good things.
Yeah.
But just like Beckett is saying, man, it's going to rot your brain on the other end. Oh, the porn game
Well, I
on
mean, it's
that.
gonna-
Have you
There's
done
gonna be
VR?
people who never leave.
Have you done VR porn?
No.
It's POV. Kids,
It has head tracking.
kids are not gonna leave their dorm room.
Oh my god.
100%.
Kids aren't going to leave? No.
College.
Human beings are not
yeah,
going to.
yeah, yeah.
Eventually,
You're right.
no one's going to ever leave.
Yeah.
Vicky, have you ever tried this? Not the porn part. I'm talking about just the regular.
VR.
You put it over
No.
your head. It's kind of like a little dome over your head.
No.
And
The last 5 years, it has really advanced.
Oh, it's crazy.
I took an edible, and my buddy brought over this thing, and it was hitting real nice. And it was some of the ones you pull up are not as good as others.
Absolutely.
And the one that I pulled up that was HD 8K.
Yeah.
I was sitting in this fucking prairie. And rams and fucking lambs and like everything. All of the most peaceful creatures. Wildebeest were running up to me, just sitting, chilling.
Yeah.
It was awesome. I had a fan blowing on me.
You could feel outside air.
If I had some kind of another atmosphere, I was so at peace.
Yeah.
But then I thought, I could see how somebody could really be at too much peace on that thing.
Oh yeah.
100%. Nat Geo stepped up their game. I was hanging out with gorillas and whatever.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
This one Ready Player game, it was my first night doing the Oculus. You go into this lobby, and I'm playing this game with zero gravity where you're throwing a Frisbee into a goal, and you can block it, and you hear people say, oh my gosh, I missed it. And in the lobby, someone came up to me, sounded like a guy in his early 20s came up to me. He goes, because he has your screen name. My screen name is Ryan Beckett 33, and it links with my Facebook, so it's got my Facebook profile picture. And I hear something in my right ear of
weird.
the VR headset, and the guy goes, hey, Ryan, is this your first time? I look over to the right. There's a guy standing right next to me talking to me. And I was like, whoa. And he goes, hey, man, come over. Let me show you. Because you have, like, practice areas. And he has me follow him over. He's like, dude, you got to try this. Like, squeeze your hand. You can grab this, and you can do that. I'm like, this is crazy.
So am I the only one? I have 2 points here. Am I the only one that thinks or is surprised that Ryan Beckett 33 isn't Ryan Beckett 69?
Yeah.
And to Anna's
Carlos
point,
Danger.
Anna's point in the chat room, I am with her. She said, I tried it back in the day. I'm not a fan. I fucking hated it.
It's way.
I get vertigo on the wrong type of thing. If I'm doing that, the helmet and the 3D, is it 3D, 4D? What is it?
I mean, it's immersive.
It's
It's just
immersive.
3D, I guess you could say.
It's even better than 3D.
Yeah,
I don't know
you're
what that-
actually
yeah,
in it.
Yeah.
The old school, and if there's certain kinds that are terrible. Old school shit was pretty rough for me.
Yeah.
And if I'm walking around and I'm on a kind of like a game where I have to spin around, I get the vertigo. But if I'm just chilling by a river,
Yeah.
fucking wildebeest,
Yeah.
The new thing's gonna be concerts, man. I've already watched a few. They're very cool.
I can see how it would be amazing.
So-
You're just sitting in the room watching them jam. It's so weird.
So first off, you can change your settings. So just like going out on a sailboat, like you have to get your sea legs and you have to adapt to
Yes.
it. That's for sure. But you can change the settings to make it less motion sickening. The other thing I would say, if someone's tried it a while ago, try it again. Just think about how cell phones started and how fast they progressed, both in expense and in quality and technology on it.
It's like everything. You can go to the keys and go raging keys, or you can go to the keys and, look at the sites. I do want to turn to now one of our most famous segments. It's time for some... What do I think I'm going to say? You don't know, do you? It's going to be time for Ask Vicky. Ask Vicky. Okay, Vicky, we're going to ask you some questions, and a couple of these are mine because we did not get very good ones this week.
Okay.
Also, again, if you are going to send, I know I sound like such a dick. Just keep your emails down to at least 7 pages.
Okay.
Vicky, can a spirit's mood change like a human? Meaning, does a spirit get temperamental, or do they usually lock into a certain mood or emotion?
They're humans. So if in life they went up and down with their emotions, which most people do, they're going to do the same thing on the other side.
Okay, so we've kind of talked about how we have possibly a va-va-va-voom kind of a spirit here that might have, I don't know, a romantic interest of just what's going on in the house. Now, are there times where she could appear and not be so romantic and be all pissy?
Of course, she was a woman in life. So she's a woman on the other side.
Okay, so you can be moody and temperamental as a spirit. What about as a demon? Or are they just always just
They're
they're
pretty
different.
much grumpy all the time.
just in the same...
Yeah, unless they're trying to fool you. So in that part, they might be, even romantic or do something for you to get attached to them. And then they do the old switcheroo and let you know that they're demonic.
Okay, I love it. Anybody want to add on to that? Beckett, I see you looking curious.
If I, God forbid, pass early and Vicky does an EVP here, just know that my sign will be my annoying laugh.
You will be in the corner.
on the EVP.
Baby, I don't think it's annoying. I think it's infectious. I love it. Fuck the haters. Don't read the
We'll
comments.
be in the foyer and we'll hear it.
Yeah.
Okay, next question for our talented Vicky. Can a ghost take over your electronics and then stay in there, sort of like the TV in Poltergeist? Now, that was from a KVJ Nationer, and I thought that's a really cool question.
Right. They actually didn't technically stay in the TV. That was the portal that they used to come through. So that's the distinction. When they mess with your electronics, they're not in them. They're physically messing with them the same way if they were living, and they're changing the knobs and turning it off and on.
And I think the reason why the person is confused, because in Poltergeist, it does seem like
It looks like, yeah,
Carol
that
Ann,
she
she's
gets,
living
yeah.
in the TV for a while and stuck there.
Right, but if you, in the movie, they go to the other side to get her. They don't go through the TV. They go through the portal that is in the closet upstairs. And it has nothing to do, once they hear her on the TV, once that scene where the hand comes out of the TV and all that, once that, she is on that other side. And the TV, if you notice, isn't used again, technically, because they go through the portal in the closet.
Listening audience, chat room, everyone listening, Poltergeist, the original, overrated or fucking awesome? Let me know.
First one's good.
I actually like them all, dog.
Which one's the one with the mirrors? Is that
That's part 3.
Yeah.
3?
That one is whack ass.
That one gets a little
Isn't it
funky.
funny how some movies, the first one will always be like that cornerstone, and then sometimes it's the second one that's like the best out of all of them, and like they have like different things. It's interesting.
It's
Yeah.
never the third, is it?
It's rarely the
Rarely.
third. Very rarely.
Off the top of your dome, not to,
Well, so Harry Potter, I like the third movie in the Harry Potter series.
Okay.
Though I wouldn't consider that like a trilogy.
Jurassic Park too. Like the first one was epic. Second one was
What's the
low
one where they were doing
budget, horrible.
gymnastics?
if you're trying to compare 3 to 1, get out of my house.
So there's one where the girl does flips on the gymnastic pole and kicks a raptor. I dropped.
You're out. You're
yeah,
out.
man, that's terrible.
That
could
how
never happen.
That's how I felt about Friday the 13th. Once Jason went out to space, I'm out. Wallace
Me too.
Pennington, I'm out.
What are you sending him to space? He's terrorizing people.
Another question for Ask Vicky. So can a ghost choose not to cross over even if they're not a bad person? Let's say I die and I go, you know what? I kind of like where I'm in limbo, so to speak. Do you find that often?
That's something Jay Berger would totally do, by the way.
No way, dog. I don't want to stay.
Really?
Dude, I want to go to the next level. You think I want to stay in fucking AAA?
True.
It typically happens with people who are scared of retribution on the other side, but there are people who absolutely love their life and they don't want to let go of this existence.
So somebody that would, and we're not talking about evil. We're talking about, let's say I did decide I wanted to stay. After I died, I stay on, what would you call that plane if I stayed here?
That they're earthbound.
I'm earthbound. Okay, I would be earthbound. What would be the pros in your opinion? If you had to list a pro, why would you want to stay and be earthbound?
I don't see a lot of benefits of being earthbound, because if you do actually, what I've been shown, if you do go to the other side and you want to come back, you can. And you've already gone, you've checked in, and then you have your freedom to come back and you can still interact. I think that you have limited abilities if you're earthbound compared to someone who comes in visitation back and forth. That's just my own opinion.
Now, for people who are just new to the podcast, what's the difference between earthbound and someone that comes back and forth?
Earthbound is someone who never went to the light, never checked in on the other side. And everybody else, if you go through the right process, you are going to pass. You go to the other side. There are some people that have to stay. They're not given their freedom right away. They have classrooms that they have to go to learn things. There are some people that want to come straight back, so they come straight back. There are some people that have more people on the other side, so they stay over there. And then there's people that just split their time back and forth. There's also people who have specific jobs that they're supposed to do when they pass. And it's kind of like their duty or their responsibility.
A mission.
A mission. I have been told by a psychic that my mission is to help earthbound spirits to get them to the other side.
Denny, did you hear, tales of missions, earthbound spirits, crossing over, thoughts?
I mean, I like it all. It all sounds. I mean, it all sounds awesome. I like the concept of going and being like, you know what, I'm gonna go back, or being attached and haunting.
I have a comment that I think's on topic, and
Get
it's
it.
kind of a would you rather, all at the same time. So we've talked about it on the podcast. You know that TV show Black Mirror?
Yes.
It's dystopian. Did you guys ever see? I think it's called San Junipero.
I have, yes.
Okay. So my question to you guys and to the audience, that totally mind effed me, because that really kind of calls people out, like on their faith and their beliefs, because
Well, not to interrupt you, could you give like a 10-second synopsis
listening.
for people? Because there's a lot of people who don't know
Of
what you're
course.
talking about. What was that episode about?
Of course, because before you pass away, you have a decision. You can pass away OG style and roll the dice, whether it's just black nothingness after you pass away, or you go to the other side towards the light, like Vicky said, and you go to heaven, you can come back and forth, or you can do what technology allowed at that point of human society, and you could be uploaded, your consciousness, to a utopia server where you can interact with all the other people. So when your dog passes, when your loved ones passes, they're all, if they all choose to do so, are all also uploaded to the server. So my point is, in terms of would you rather, right now we have no choice.
Yeah.
Right now, you roll the dice on your faith, what you believe in, going towards the light, other side, heaven, whatever you believe. But given that, the way the show went, you got to choose one or the other. So you either roll the dice and you go with your faith or what you believe in, or you get uploaded to the server and live in eternity with your consciousness in this gamified metaverse like we were talking about earlier. So that's a great or very interesting, thought-provoking thing. What do you decide?
Vicky, your thoughts before I address this. I just got the notification. Have I missed much? That's what KR asked in the chat room. And then somebody, Yazzie says, not really, KR. Not really. I disagree. Pouring
Grabbing them early.
pouring our fucking hearts out over here.
Singing.
Fucking hearts. All right. Vicky, your thoughts on what Beckett...
I wouldn't want to choose.
It's a tough decision.
Yeah, because I'm very bad with making choices. You can look at my romantic life and figure that out. And I would not want the weight.
So if you
of that
never
decision
choose,
on
I
me.
imagine in that society you would just
So
get the...
so here's the thing that I would say to Vicky. There's not a choice until there is one.
Mm-hmm.
And the non-choice is, in some ways, not to be that guy, is a choice.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're choosing not to make a choice, you're choosing to roll the dice
I would
on
think to
what's
move
on the
to
next side. Or you
consciousness,
know what I mean?
Well, I'm rolling then.
I think it's good.
Right?
I'd probably roll too.
What would you do, Jaybird?
I'm old school, dog.
You'd roll?
If I die and I
wanna
know
do
what,
it right.
I'm just gonna see what happens. And if nothing happens, nothing happens. If something happens, I'm hoping. I want to go to the majors, like you're saying. I'd want to stay here. Fuck no, man. I want to see what's the next
next
level.
thing, yeah.
But what if the next level
Doesn't
is horse
exist.
shit? Did you ever get that, Vicky, where you go? Is there ever times in your life where you lay in bed and you go, "What if I'm wrong?"
Oh, of course. I remember being a young child and I didn't quite understand any concept of anything when it comes to the other side. And I thought that when you died, they stuck me in a coffin and I was going to wake up and I was in that coffin.
Oh, damn.
And my biggest concern is that I wasn't going to be able to watch Happy Days anymore because I didn't have a
Vicky
TV
loves,
there.
Vicky loves the Fonz.
So it's probably because of Chachi, actually.
You like Scott. You liked Scott Baio.
So
I love how you put the past tense in there.
Like Scott.
because he pays attention, he knows.
Yeah.
I do. Yes.
But yeah, I mean, that after that, it's like I used to worry. My parents would get up and sometimes they'd leave like on a Saturday morning. And I'd wake up once I got to the point where, I was going to Sunday school and I learned all those lessons or whatever. And we had talked about Revelation. So I would wake up, I'd be a teenager and my parents would be gone. And they hadn't left me a note. And my first thought is, oh my God, the rapture happened
Everybody's
and I
gone.
was left behind.
Wow, that's fucked up.
Yeah. And it would only take me a couple seconds to rationalize that, I called a few people and I'm like, oh, they're still here. I'm good. They went someplace.
It is crazy how religion scares the shit out of, especially the youth. I remember being a kid, probably 9 or 10 years old, and I always heard that if you heard trumpets coming from the sky,
Yeah.
it's all going down.
apocalypse.
And I remember I heard trumpets coming out from the distance, and they were coming from the sky, Denny's. I didn't know where they were coming from, and it scared the fuck out of me. I thought Armageddon was happening. And it's crazy. I remember going into church, and this is not a knock on religion. But I remember going into few churches where there was such graphic images of Jesus with the blood, or people with thorns in their fucking head, or a lot of blood, a lot of graphic stuff that kind of scared me as a kid. Did you guys ever experience that growing up?
In terms of like what?
Religion, going to church, stuff like that. That was the kind of stuff that turned me off from it as I got older.
Yeah, so I went to Pope John Paul for high school.
PJP?
Yeah, PJP. And the big thing, because we were always required to take a religion class, and our priest that taught class basically, you know, because they were staunch on like the interpretation that dogs don't go to heaven. And they lost the room. Lost the room.
Yeah.
I bet
Lost
that's
the
harder each
room
year
on
for
it.
people.
Lost the room on it. I could go into more details of some other stuff that they did, which is a hot topic recently that totally freaked people out. But they lost the room on it.
Well, I mean, it's weird what we decide goes to the next level.
Yeah.
As humans, keep in mind, these are human terms and conditions here of, oh yeah, dogs don't go to heaven. Roaches don't go to heaven because I'm a human and I decide I think of everything in a human form.
Exactly, but not to be too philosophical, but think what humans have done in the progression of history. We've done that in terms of white men being the only people to vote, and women couldn't, and minorities couldn't, and all that stuff, and we've progressed. So we apply that same template, in my opinion, like oftentimes in religion, as it relates to like animals and dogs and like who goes to heaven. And to me, that's not what I believe like our higher power would ever do, especially if they, him, her, whatever you believe in, you know, knows how we feel about those things, like how you felt about Chewy, how I feel about my animal. That would be the cruelest thing ever to do.
Well, you know, everyone's got their hot buttons, and you said, Vicky, you don't really typically see a lot of animals when you do readings.
Not on the other side. They're usually hanging around their owners until their owners pass. And then I've never come across one where I've seen, you know, a cat chilling and on the other side. I don't call it heaven anymore. I call it the other side.
We get a lot of animal emails about, do they go to heaven? Do they cross over? Can I be haunted? Denny's, if you don't mind, sweet Denny's, let's play the dog dives out of the window. I don't know if you guys have seen this. There was a fire. I forget what state it was in. I want to say Alabama, but I could be wrong. There was a fire and nobody was home. And there's this dog that jumps out of the second story to save its own life.
Wow.
There's people down there egging
They're trying to catch it. Now, I will say, these fucking humans did not do a good job.
Lazy attempt, by the way.
Trying to catch the dog. I can tell you this much. I would have caught the dog. Everyone in this room would have caught it. I'm being a dick.
What do you mean they didn't catch the dog?
It looked in the clip like they didn't make the best effort.
This is like a weirdo yeller kind of clip?
No. I think everyone was in shock, so I don't want to speak out of turn because I wasn't there. There's a fire going on.
They did a lousy job catching the dog.
And the dog was trying to jump out. I just want to make sure I fucking caught the dog.
Well, the person looks like, and then they saw the dog, 'cause it's kind of a large dog, and I think they kind of stepped back when they saw the dog approach. You got to watch the clip on your own, make your own assessment.
Okay.
Yeah, but the good thing is when you hear this horrific clip, the dog's fine.
Yeah,
the dog
everything-
made it out of
Thank
that.
you.
Everything turns out fine.
Charlie, come on, buddy. We need a ladder. Good boy. Oh my gosh. Roll him off. Oh, he's burnt up. Good job. Watch out. He is burnt. Oh my gosh, he's burnt. You got a hose back there? Yes, there's a hose. Take him back to school ball. Come on.
So the worst part of it that he had some cinch hair, but the dog's gonna be fine. And the reason why I played that clip was that dog was heroic and hit survival mode.
Of course.
At its worst time, and I think some humans would freak out and freeze.
Yeah.
That dog went into
It
pure
did. It
on-
backed up and jumped
It
out.
jumped out. It knew what to do. And I was watching this show called, and I brought it up before, I Survived, or How I Survived.
Mm-hmm.
And this woman was out hiking with her dog out in the mountains. Nobody was out there. She slipped, fell. She was out there for, I think, 38 hours. And she couldn't walk, and it was just her and her dog. And the dog, she kept on saying, the dog just kept looking at me like, let's get the fuck out of here. Why are we still here? What's going on? And it finally clicked to the dog that something was wrong, but she was about to die. We're like on hour 39, 40. She's losing blood.
Ugh.
And she said she looked at her dog, and the dog looked at her, and the dog had a complete different demeanor. Everything changed. The mannerisms of the dog changed. And she said, it was my last-ditch effort. I said, I forget the dog's name, but she goes, blah, blah, blah. I'm about to die. Please help me. She had a heart-to-heart with the dog. The dog looked at her, fucking takes off for about 30 minutes, comes back, and she said the dog's demeanor had changed and started drinking the water, like all of her water, and she starts to panic because she's going, man, the dog's drinking I'm going to die. But the dog was now calm and chill, and she's going in and out of consciousness, and within 40 minutes, she hears these wheels come up, and one of the first things that the people say was, hey, you have an awesome dog right there. They let us know you were out here. That's something that you can't explain it. Animals got a genius that I don't think humans sometimes understand.
No, not at all.
Just like that dog that jumped out of the window,
Yeah.
It's that next level that maybe there's more to our opinion on animals.
Yeah, it's like Lassie. You know, right?
Yeah. Well, that's kind of a joke. They made a joke in Wayne's World. They talk to the dog, blah blah blah, and it goes and it does all of the directions. But it makes you wonder. Maybe there's some animals out there that are a little bit more special and just get it.
Well, think about this. Some humans can't communicate. Sometimes because they speak different languages. Mm-hmm. Sometimes in intimate relationships, you guys have heard of 5 love languages. Sometimes people show love and affection in different ways, so they miscommunicate with each other. So if humans have a problem communicating with each other when they speak the same language, of course other species are going to have a tough time communicating with other species. Mm-hmm. And so if you have that mindset, I think you realize that everything has its own thing. We've talked about this, and it's apropos for the podcast. If aliens came in and they were smarter than us and then we couldn't communicate with them, we would be horrified if they treated us horribly.
Yeah.
And we'd be like, what jerks? But we do it to people or, animals and species under us.
Yeah.
It's so hypocritical.
Yeah, we didn't play that clip. We still don't have those capabilities yet in the podcast. We're working on that. That was just the audio. I saw you get a little sad. I'm the same way, Vicky. It's tough for me to hear sad animal clips.
No,
I wanted to play that just to kind of show the dire situation. The dog's fine. That's the only reason why we played that clip.
At all.
Yeah,
I was just laughing at how clumsily
it's
they
like that movie
him.
Marley and Me, where we're like, it's a funny movie. It's Owen Wilson.
Dude.
It's like about a dog and like all the
never
whatever.
watched it.
My Marley, I was.
I didn't watch it. I
Me
heard
and
the
my
synopsis.
ex-girlfriend, we had just got back together, so it was one of those. Oh, I love you. No, I love you. No, I was wrong. No, I was wronger. So we were in that second honeymoon phase.
Yeah,
and it was during Christmas time.
it's a great phase, by the way.
Yeah, no, it'll last a long time. If you're only hearing the audio, I did roll my eyes during that. But it was packed. It was during Christmas time. And I'm like, oh, yeah, let's go fucking see this dog movie. I didn't really know what it was about. Holy fuck, man. Everybody in the theater is bawling. It's like 2 days before Christmas.
Yeah, talk about a bait and switch, that movie.
I'm like, what the shit is this, man?
That's bullshit.
I can't get some holiday cheer.
Yeah.
Damn,
that
Owen
was
Wilson
rough.
got all depressed after
Yeah,
that.
I didn't love Marley and Me, dog. That was a one-timer for me.
Yeah, that was the worst movie ever.
I don't ever go reach and go, hey, let's watch Marley and Me.
I don't
No.
think anyone does.
No. No.
There's a couple movies that are good. You watch them once and you've experienced it.
Yeah.
Danny's, you're awfully talkative over there. Well,
Yeah,
I think with
hey.
that, it might be time for some
Denny's Random Facts.
Our sweet Denny's does a great job. He mines, he pillages, he searches.
I love the pre-fact stretch. Did you see that?
Yeah,
He's got a pre-fact stretch now.
No, he's
I had to
warming
stretch
up.
before everything.
It's like him in the batter's box.
He's warming up for the big game. And he's warming up for me. He doesn't know what I'm going to throw at him. And Denny's, with that, you give us your factoids. Vicky's our educator. She's going to grade them. If they're great, she gives an A. If they're bad, she's been known to throw that F or D.
Jeez.
But she's more of a C. She's nice. Denny's. Sweet Denny's. The floor is yours.
Well, so we've all seen black holes, or we know what they are at least, out in space. And in 2019, NASA's Event Horizon Telescope captured an image of the black hole. In fact, I'll share it with the people here. But they also found a way to hear what a black hole sounds like. I'm going to play it for you guys. And this actually, you guys might have come across this article because it was just the other day that it came up. But that was the NASA image, which I have up for KVJ.
Wow.
TV. Or
It looks a lot like a butthole.
Looks. I was thinking the same thing.
looks-
I was gonna say it out loud.
Vicky, I'm sorry. We had a few whiskeys.
So they composited what a black hole would sound like, and this is the eerie sound that it would sound like. So the reason it sounds like that is because it sucks everything into it because it's so dense. It sucks light. It sucks sound as well, and it produces that noise.
So you got a Sean in the chat room questioning, challenging Denny's. He says, "We know what they are?" ? What are they?
I think they're the densest spots in the galaxy. So according to the article, I think there's 8 of them. 8 black hole binaries found in the Milky Way galaxy, this is composited from those 8. It's dense spots in the galaxy where everything is attracted and sucked into it. That's basically all they know about them. I don't think there's actually a lot known about them.
Yeah, it's interesting. It sounded like a sucky sound.
So every comment,
Take it easy, Becky.
every comment says that sounds like a sci-fi sound and how a black hole should probably sound.
Yeah.
Vicky, have you ever heard something like that investigating?
No.
That would be so horrifying.
It sounds like
Oh
a
my
space
God.
sound.
Only if it's a succubus.
That sounds like a succubus to me.
But yeah.
Vicky, what do you think? He brings audio clips.
Well, his grade is comprised of the fact that it was scientific. Check that off. He was able to field a question from our audience. Check that off. And the whole thing made a creepy sound. Another check. A freaking plus.
Oh, wow.
Sweet daddy.
That's a new story too from just a
That's
couple
great.
days ago.
That's
MIT.
I love it.
All credit to MIT.
Oh, dog. Run. Keep
Here-
going. Feel it. Freeform.
So this one is just weird to me. So Oxford University is older than the Aztecs. The Aztec civilization was from 1325. It seems like a long time ago, which it was, but if you look even further back, Oxford University started in 1096.
Oxford is old as fuck.
It's older
Denny's
than
is
the-
right. I know. I
the
couldn't
ancient
believe
civilization
that.
of
I
Aztecs.
saw that. I couldn't believe it.
So it was known as a established university by 1249, still much before the Aztec civilization.
Wow.
How random is that?
Isn't that crazy?
That's
the
even before Stella was brewed.
The time, yes.
Stella was like 1386 or something like that.
The beer?
The beer.
The
Isn't that crazy?
timeline, so weird.
So, Vicky, you had a lot to deal with. You had Denny's bringing them some awesome facts, then you had Beckett muddying it up with some Stella shit.
You know, but I can't let that interfere with this. I can't. But I mean, maybe you should have saved the A freaking plus for a little bit later.
I hear
so
ya.
that one, yeah, it's a B just because you know
Damn.
I am kind of.
Yeah.
I get it. Just an odd one for
Yeah.
you.
So that's the oldest university in the world, right?
It has to
Yeah,
be.
it has to
It has to be.
I'm impressed, Denny's, but I was impressed on it. I'm like, holy fuck, really? It's that old?
I don't know if you guys have heard about this, but pieces of the same metal become permanently fused together if they touch in space. So you think of attaching two metals on here, we would heat them up a lot and they would melt together. But space is the opposite. They have what's called cold welding. They discovered it during a 1965 Gemini mission where astronauts temporarily were unable to close the hatch to the spacewalk because they had went out and it was exposed to the outer space and it froze it. It was the first time they came across this. But yeah, if you touch two metals together that is the same metal in outer space, it will weld them together. It's called
Super interesting.
cold welding.
Beckett,
I found this space channel that I was watching. I was like, holy shit.
Vicky, I can't tell.
I hear
Damn,
it.
damn.
A B, a good B.
Yassi in the chat room says, Denny's, what the fuck? These facts suck.
Yeah,
Well, it's because he
is that
blew
what
his
she
wad
said?
in the
No, I'm
first
just
one.
kidding. She didn't say that.
I hear ya,
I'm
I
totally
hear
being
ya.
a dick. I'm being a troll.
Shut
Maybe
I'm
she's
stirring
making,
it up.
she's
I'm
making
stirring
a
it up.
black hole reference.
I'm totally stirring it up.
I get it. Let's see. Armadillos almost always give birth to identical quadruplets. So it's not uncommon for them to have multiple kids, but armadillos specifically always, or almost, they put it at about a 95% give identical quadruplet births across the board. So anytime you see a bunch of armadillos, they're all identical
Wow.
in most cases.
Vicky looked like she nodded off.
How random is that? Multiple.
I mean, it's
He really blew his load, didn't he?
yeah.
I hear
I'm B minus.
ya. I get
She
it.
wants
I
to
just-
s-
I
she
get it,
wants
I
to
get it.
see her.
It's
Yeah,
I
more
wanna
random.
see it.
I can get a C for
Give
that.
a C. Fucking
I
see his
deserve it.
ass.
It's fine. It's fine.
Send him to the sea.
I thought this is cool, especially as we approach the summer. Wasps are more likely to attack at the end of summer. And the reason being is that they're done providing for their queen and her offspring. So they love to feast now, and they have the extra time on sugary drinks and over-ripened fruit to become inebriated. Plus, they don't have to go back and do any work, so they're out a lot more. So when you're getting stung at the end of it, you're getting stung by drunk wasps.
What do you think, Vicky?
Sounds like Palm Beach.
You're right.
I actually kind of like the
Anglo-Saxons.
drunk wasp thing, so I'm gonna go B.
Denny's.
August and September have the highest incidences of drunk yellow jacket stings.
Denny's, your wife has entered the chat room.
I can only
and
imagine
she
she's
says, "How
trolled.
long are we going to be staring at this space butthole?" It's been. If you're just listening, Denny's has had it on this black hole butthole
That's right.
the whole time. People are like, "Can we stop looking at this space anus?"
They don't like looking in. After you guys called it.
I looked at the comment section. And everyone's like, "Dude, we get it. It's a fucking space butthole."
I got the monitor down here. That's so funny. I apologize. You guys had to look at that.
That's great.
Oh, if you listen to the audio, you're not gonna get it. But you just know the whole time Denny's been talking, I've been looking at this thing. It looks just like a butthole.
Oh man, that sucks.
One question came in. Said, "Hey, is Denny's high?"
Oh my gosh. Today.
Dennis, give us one more. I'm sorry. I don't know if this is making any sense, but I'm having fun.
Yes, it is a fun time. Let's see. So, people used to think that lambs grew on trees. They were referred to back in the medieval text as vegetable lambs. The animals were thought to grow on trees from a territory called Tartary, which was in Europe. There's two types of plants, as they thought, back the text dating back to 436, that's how long ago, that newborn lambs were born inside of pods or produced lambs that were attached by the belly button to the stem. Hunters would go gather these lambs, and they loved them because they tasted like fish and sweet blood.
Yeah.
There's actually multiple songs written about these lambs, and there's multiple books written about these lambs. 14th century traveler wrote about describing these strange gourd-like fruit grown in Tartary, but once ripened would turn into a lamb with sweet blood.
Can you do me a favor? And can you real slow say Tartary again?
Tartary.
Oh,
Here,
yeah.
if you tempt me, I'm gonna put the butthole back up. Make people watch that for 20 minutes.
Denny's, I think that was a great round.
All right, there you go.
You made me belly laugh. That's always a win for
I
me.
feel bad people had to watch that for so long.
Dear Weird and Whatever, you guys were talking about parallel universes a couple weeks ago, and I just don't get it. I might be dumb, but I'd like to really try to understand the concept. My ex-boyfriend always talked about this topic, but I never understood what the fuck he was saying. He'd always say, "You're so dumb. You just don't get it." Well, I'm glad he's your ex-boyfriend. Fuck that guy. Also, he was okay. Also, he was a cheating asshole, but that's the story for another time. Love the podcast. Lori, Denny's, I know you just had the microphone, but I know you're a man that likes to talk about parallel universes.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. I have a love-hate relationship
for
with
someone who
parallel
doesn't
universes.
understand it. She doesn't get it. What would be a 101 Cliff Notes kind of a thing for her to get
So
it?
they say everything that we perceive in this universe is a culmination of multiple universes. They argue that there might even be up to 13 to 26 different parallel universes that all exist at the exact same time.
Is that string theory?
string theory?
Yeah.
Yes. And I mean, string theory I think's been disproven, but now they have
Has
these
it?
newer multiple string theories.
Damn, Beckett wants to challenge you. Okay, go.
I believe I read something
Einstein was a string theory guy, wasn't
So
he?
I think there's a lot of concepts still based around string theory, but I think the core original one has been only just built upon. I think
String
I think
theory
that-
again, layman's terms.
that there's multiple universes and we're connected, I guess, by the string of
Right.
all universes. It's all woven together. But if anything, I think what they've done is they said that string theory is wrong because there's actually even more universes to make it work properly. There has to be a ton of them.
Okay.
But you wonder why. But they say that principles like gravity would be shared amongst them.
And part of her email, and I didn't include it, but it kind of talked about how there's a good her or there's another version of her. Do you know?
So, I mean, in Star Trek, Futurama, and all those type of things, they'll have a cowboy universe where everybody's exactly the same, but they all dress like cowboys. It's kind of like a joke, but I mean, technically, you would think that there'd be a version. So, if our skin is whatever this color, you would think there would be an exact opposite, like a negative photo version of us existing as well at the same time. And then we talk about. So parallel universes would be different from like multiple timelines, I guess you could say, right? Because everything would have to still be on the same. We would all be doing the same thing at all
Right.
times. It couldn't go off on different tangents.
Vicky,
That's
you-
where it loses me.
You hear Denny's talk about parallel universes, cowboy places, crossing over lines, different realms. Thoughts?
I'm as confused as the writer was.
Yeah, parallel universes kind of. Well, only because they confuse me because I've heard 9 different people tell me 9 different things about it.
I think it's just because it's a lot of theories on it.
Do you believe it's a thing that it could be real?
Yeah, I mean, I could see it working.
You
know,
could.
I guess I
Yeah.
could, yeah.
You could see another Denny's out there.
Yeah, see, it's tricky. I think they'd all have to be the same.
Yeah.
It would have to be all of the same sharing. It couldn't be like sliding door style.
Here's the thing. It doesn't make it definitely true, but it's more than some kid in his grandma's basement on YouTube theorizing on something. Like, these are thought leaders that are using data science to actually project with, an academic journal and theorizing based on other accepted facts that they believe to make it true. There's a lot of things that Einstein came up with, including the theory of relativity, that he believed to later in his life be wrong. And since he's passed away, some of the things that he theorized on have been proven to be correct. So my point is that these are very, very smart people applying science to theorize on something. It's not just some, QAnon person like in a basement trying to theorize. Like, these are actually, and this is way above my pay grade. They're actually using science, physics, quantum physics. Quantum physics is amazing. That's where string theory comes from. And the fact that they're bringing science into it to explain why it exists, to me, gives it way more credibility. For example, it's like the weather. Sure, the weatherman can be wrong, but he's using science.
Why's it got to be a
models.
he?
He or she. He or she. The best meteorologists are female, in my opinion, by the way. They actually are using data science models, and sure, they could be wrong, but they're giving a high probability chance that the hurricane's going to hit here, it's going to rain at this
Better
time.
than me just regurgitating what I think I remember.
Yeah,
from
exactly.
earlier.
It feels warm, so I feel like it's going to rain this afternoon. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Yeah.
I'm not sure about the string theory, but I do know about the string cheese theory. Can I get an amen on that?
I'm not a big string cheese guy.
I'm with you.
I don't like string cheese either.
String cheese is
Which
kind
is weird because I'm like you. I'm a huge pizza guy, but the string
love cheese, but string cheese, I feel like they could be better.
Yeah, it
'Cause
kinda
kids'
grosses me
hand-
out.
Kids' hands all over it, and then
Kinda
they're
grosses me out.
Vicky,
sweating in the
string
heat.
cheese? Yes, no.
I'm not a cheese person, but I'm thinking
What?
only on the weird and
The
whatever
fuck?
could you go from this theory that he's talking about to string cheese.
This would be the whatever part. And you also bring up Einstein.
Yeah.
And if you were a betting man, which I am, do you think Einstein ever 69'd?
100%. The guy was a pervert.
He wasn't. He's a known pervert.
Yeah, he was the.
Really? I did not know this.
Oh, he was so promiscuous.
yeah.
I had a little JMO.
I get it.
Oh, I get it.
Can I have a little more, J-Mo?
Believe me, I speak stutter and slur. I get it. Yeah. So he was like a Ben Franklin, kind of a puss hound.
He's on the record saying monogamy is unnatural.
You knew this too, Vicky, and you knew it too, Denny's.
I didn't know he was promiscuous.
So we're talking Einstein. Is he all about, I don't know, like butt play?
I don't think you could be.
Is that in the notes?
I don't think you could be public about that when he was alive, but
Definitely
I'm sure he
not.
was.
Oh, you say he was a person that was into...
Does it hurt or help his cred?
It would totally help.
I
That means he knows black holes.
actually... I mean,
He does back holes.
it all comes full circle to the black hole theory. Your space anus that was up on the screen for 5 minutes.
Here, I'm gonna put it back up.
I apologize to our audience. Thank you for being so brave and telling us that it was up there.
I'm glad I didn't have the screen up to see for 20 minutes.
No, you've heard that too about Ben Franklin being a puss hound?
Oh, yeah.
Total player.
And I guess chicks were into him? Vicky, does he tickle your fancy? A Ben Franklin type?
No.
The portly, kind of like
Ben Franklin doesn't do it for you?
like
No.
the hen-built body? Like a hen? No.
He
Okay.
kind of does look like a hen. He's got the body of a hen.
Well, I know that body because I've had that body. I've been built like a hen before. Way back hen. All right.
I think young Ben F was a pretty attractive guy.
Who?
Ben Franklin.
Ben F.
Ben
I
F.
thought you said Ben Affleck. I'm like, well, yeah, no, I agree. Great
Ben,
Goodwill Hunting.
Benifer.
Yeah, but back then, being a scientist, a smart mind, a Renaissance person, that was all what...
Not to mention a founding father.
Dude, all of that is what people steamed for. So that was what pulled the women back then, or the dudes.
The guy was crushing it. He's a legend. We're talking about him. We're talking about Time Capsule. We're talking about him in 2022.
Beckett's getting a Ben Franklin boner. Dear Weird and Whatever. We'll end this shit on some sad stuff.
Oh,
No, I'm kidding. More insight. I'd like to get everyone on the panel's opinion. Dear Weird and Whatever, do you ever wake up sad for no rhyme or reason? I sometimes wake up and I'm sad and I just don't understand why. Does this sound relatable to anyone? Love the podcast, Dorinda. Yeah, for me personally, it does. It absolutely rings very true for me. There can be a morning where it doesn't have to be a rhyme or reason. I wake up and I just have the melancholy blues, and I don't get it. Don't understand why. I think sometimes maybe it might be some subconscious working that I haven't dealt with. And I also think it might be in my DNA. My mom definitely struggled with a lot of depression and blues and anxiety issues. And I think you can run from your parents for so long, but at the end of the day, you are your parents, you're related to them. So yeah, I can relate to that. And my remedy, if I do wake up and feel sad or down for no reason, always try to preoccupy your mind with something you like doing. If you're creative and you like to write. If you like to run, go run. A busy mind is definitely a less worried mind. I know when I'm busy and I'm focused on something, I don't have nearly as much anxiety, depression, obsessive thoughts, negative thinking. I really do think it takes work for some people, and that work is to be busy, especially in a way you want to be busy that's good and soothing for your spirit and mind.
100%.
Anyone want to add on to that?
I look at it like a video game. Like every morning is a reset of the game. The level, the game, whether we live in a metaverse or a matrix or we're put here by a higher power. Every morning, it's a new day for you. Not to sound too Tony Robbins, but that's your reset.
Yeah.
You can remold. There have been plenty of examples that people had a really shitty previous life and totally had a tangential trajectory in a positive way. So every morning you wake up, it's a new day to make the world like your lump of clay. And I always think about that. Like sometimes I had a rough day the night before, I was like, man, I'm just gonna go to bed, and tomorrow I can get after it.
Vicky, what are your thoughts? Do you ever get that? Where can you relate to an email like that? Is that a specific thing to just certain individuals, or is that just part of the human experience? Waking up and sometimes just having the blues.
I think it can happen to anybody. I'm more likely to wake up pissed off.
But when
than
you
I
say
am
that's
sad.
a version of the blues, just in a different form.
Takes a different emotion.
Yeah.
There's some days I wake up, I hate people. For sure.
I hate people too.
and they haven't done anything yet because I just woke up.
But you know they will.
I'm anticipating. Yeah.
I love people, but I also hate people. I don't know, man. I've been to the puppet show and seen the strings. People are just very self-absorbed. Humans are self-absorbed species. It's all about them. And I'm part of that species, so of course I gotta have love for them. But I do question a lot of the shit we obsess about.
Yeah.
I don't know. Denny's, you're over there, very, very looking insightful.
Oh yeah, I'm just absorbing all the knowledge being thrown upon.
Do you ever get that? I look at you
Definitely.
as a person that really handles emotions well. You've got a great patience. Whatever that trait is with patience, you're really good at that. I admire that. But for someone like you who doesn't seem to let things get to you, do they?
Yeah, absolutely. So some days, like, you wake up on the wrong side of the bed, whether you're just annoyed. Sometimes you wake up depressed or sad. I think it's just a lot of times I'll try to look at my week. If you've had a lot of highs, you're definitely, I feel like, are bound to feel some lows. So I think a lot of worry can be erased if you can equate it to why you think you're feeling that way. I think some days, no matter what, it's just going to happen. I think your body, depending on your diet, your sleep, I mean, if positive things happen to you, negative things, all those things can all add up. And
You make a great point. Self-talk is, man, it's
You
such
gotta do it
it's
a
such a
lot.
big thing, man. If you're a shitty cheerleader for yourself, you're gonna go out into the world and not have the best outlook. If you don't like being with yourself,
yeah,
you're kind of fucked.
Yeah, that sword cuts both ways.
Yeah.
To your point, too. Like, you can talk down to yourself, too.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
man! If you don't like who you are and you're constantly saying "I suck" and this, or
Yeah,
you don't
it'll
like,
affect you.
you're gaining weight and you want to change and you're not you're not changing. I've struggled with that. You want to lose weight, but it's almost like you put this pressure on yourself and then it sabotages. For some people, they self-sabotage with their own fucking talk.
I think the pressure that people put on themselves might be more than they need.
Agreed.
You get a lot of pressure just out there.
Yeah.
So you can relieve yourself of a lot of stuff, I'd imagine.
Vicky, do you put a lot of pressure on yourself?
No.
Is that
good
does
not
it,
to.
Well, does that come with you
Age.
just does it? So did you
Yeah.
do that a lot when you were younger?
No, actually, I never worried about grades or anything like that. And
But things that you cared about.
I mean, there's certain things that I did, but for the most part, I'm pretty much, let it go. What hurts me the most is when I see children. Like, I know of a second grader who is so hard on himself that he literally will hit his head, just bang his head with his hand over and over again because he made a B or whatever, or he forgot to ask permission to go to the restroom. And he's like, when he got to the bathroom, he's like, I don't deserve to go because I forgot the rules. I forgot to I mean, that breaks my heart.
Yeah.
That that an 8-year-old feels that kind of pressure already on himself.
Do you
He
think
put
that?
it there.
young.
Do you think that's parents?
I think this child put it on himself.
Really?
Yeah.
And you think that has nothing to do with the way he's being raised?
I think there's certainly some environmental factors with all of us, but I think bottom line, we are who we are. And I think we have this internal voice and internal drive, and that is what we listen to more than we listen to any of this other stuff.
If you could, what would you try to tell that kid not to do? To not be so hard on himself.
He needs to realize he's a human, that
Yeah.
he's going to make mistakes, and he doesn't have to be perfect.
Dennis, you're a human. You make mistakes.
Oh yeah,
I haven't
mistakes
seen-
are good.
Haven't seen two. No, mistakes are the fucking best thing a human being.
They're the
can
best
go
slash
through.
suckiest thing.
Well, because 98% of humans are going to make mistakes, and the other 2%, they're aliens.
yeah,
Every solution had a problem.
yeah,
You
you're
couldn't
right.
have a solution. We couldn't have the joy of a solution if you didn't have a problem to create the solution. And a mistake is only a mistake if you don't learn from it.
Yeah, I know the whole self-help talk can be a little hippy-trippy, but I really do. Even the people that will claim, you fucking snowflake, or you fucking tough it up, y'all, they are just as battered and bruised
100%.
emotionally.
Sometimes worse.
Sometimes worse. They think they're a pussy. Now, I'm in the middle. I think you can be too much of a pussy, or you can be too much of a fucking dick.
Yeah.
You got to find that balance.
Yeah, it's that annoying word, balance. You're right.
It's
you always gotta find it.
everything that I think is the way it's keeping it all together.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's also the main theme of Cobra Kai season 4.
Yeah, Trey Parker in that movie Team America, he said everybody out there is either a dick, a pussy, or an asshole. That was his analogy.
I mean,
it summarizes everyone.
That's the dumbest, awesome wisdom.
for sure.
It's such wisdom in that, but it's dumbed down. It's fucking brilliant.
It is so.
So what are you?
Wait, so what is it again? It's
So they're saying everybody's either
Clearly it's dumb, Vicky. What is it?
people are either dicks, pussies, or assholes.
Honestly, I am a chameleon. It's gonna always be environmental for me. I can be a pussy, I can be a dick, or I can be an asshole.
I morph a little bit.
Yeah, I morph at times, and which is a struggle because that requires balance, and I struggle with balance. Beckett, thoughts?
Well, some people like those things, so I don't know.
Well, I think there's a time in life where
Well,
you
yeah.
can be you need to be a dick. And there's a time in life where you need to be a cool person. There's a time where you need to fucking relax and be a little bit more pussy-like and flexible. I think there's, just like baseball, there's a use for each pitch. And I know people fucking hate sports analogies.
So to your point, my business style, my work style, me in relationships, I think that sometimes I'm too much of a pussy and I should have been a dick. If that
Yeah,
makes
you
sense.
could be a little bit
Totally.
more of a dick.
So
I-
it's like
I-
a Swiss Army knife of tools, like when they're apropos. And sometimes I'm too much of a pushover.
Yeah, well, I think what happens sometimes with because I struggle with that too. Then you realize, oh man, I was a pussy on that one. Then you might overcompensate, and now you're a bigger dick.
Now you're an asshole.
And that comes all with the whole fucking balance, man.
Well, I let it build up, and
Yeah.
and then it comes out, and then people get scared.
The one thing I do know, humans struggle with talking to themselves.
Yeah.
We all need to give each other a break, and we all should give ourselves a break. Again, without, I'm not talking about if someone's shitting your Wheaties
Yeah,
or
for sure.
you
I think
know.
mental health was looked at differently for a long time in America. I think more recently, people have realized how important it really is.
It's so
the
important.
most important thing you can have.
But
But
for a long time, it wasn't. People
if you
definitely
don't have
did not
that, you don't have
encourage
anything.
that.
But the other thing I struggle with too is because I really am. I really want to be a champion of trying to help people with mental health because I have a lot of mental health issues. I've also been around a lot of people who use mental health as a asset,
Yep.
as a crutch,
Yep.
Yeah.
as a way to gain popularity, and that makes me want to fucking vomit.
Yeah.
So there's my balance.
Yeah.
There's mornings I wake up and I'll read something, or we have to talk about a story, and there's a celebrity claiming to be a victim, and I come off like a blowhard.
Right.
But then
Yeah.
there's times I hear something, I go, yeah, they need some compassion. These fucking celebrities.
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes people could differentiate if somebody's genuine. I
Yeah.
feel like there's a part when somebody sees a clip that's real. I feel like everybody universally knows that's a real
Right.
moment.
I think it's in our DNA, our instinct
To pick
like,
that out.
pick that up. We have our own spidey sense in that way.
Well, almost to the fact where if you're yelling at somebody and then they start crying, you stop. Because as a human, you realize you've done something bad.
I can tell you right now, kryptonite for me, I could be so heated. You could have burned down my house. You could have fucking pissed all over my car. And as soon as I see tears, I'm like, well, we'll figure it out. That's when I turn into a pussy, Vicky.
Yeah.
I turn into a pussy.
It's because you're human. You realize it's not a comfortable thing to see.
I just don't want to
do.
deal with drama, man. I just
Yeah.
don't want to fucking deal with
Yeah, I
it.
hate it.
But I got to tell you, thank you guys all in the chat room, listening, just audio. You guys rock for being with us tonight. What an ending, huh?
Yeah.
Anyone have anything to add on with some of these hot topics or hot takes?
Yeah, we've been going.
I was just gonna ask the audience on my my truck. It's getting ready in
Oh yeah, you had some big news. I want to hear.
10 miles to roll over to 200,000.
Wow.
Now, I am not a car fucker, so I don't know. Is this a big thing?
200,000
That's a
on
lot
a
of.
car.
Oh
That's
my
a-
gosh.
that's a big deal,
I
Vicky.
mean, that's
It's
a
a
big.
big-
It's a big deal, and that's a car I'm going to keep for the rest of my life. So I'm kind of curious what I should do. I'm definitely going to video the rollover.
Yes.
I'm gonna video the
Okay,
rollover.
so this is-
You should ghost whip it.
You're
Ghost whip it
rock-
on the 200.
Yeah, walk next to it for the last.
You're learning me something over here. I did not know this was a thing or a big deal. I love learning about. I'm a milestone guy.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love milestones. Baseball is always about milestones. So yeah, let's get a video, man.
We-
I didn't know
we've
it was a
come
big deal.
some-
We've come
Fireworks.
full circle because when I like put a new engine in it or I eventually sell it, which I don't ever think I will do, I'll have that moment. I actually think I get a badge from the manufacturer
that's
when
awesome.
you hit it. So
What a world I know dick
so
about.
so it's, I have this big fear and paranoia that I'm gonna miss it. That I'm gonna like be distracted and be on my phone.
I get it.
It's gonna
You can't
roll,
miss it,
It's
dog.
gonna roll over to 200,001 or be
Don't
like,
you-
oh my gosh.
There's a Married with Children
Yeah.
episode about that.
And he was going to get paid.
Yes, he was
and
going to
he
get
fell
money.
asleep.
Yes, he did. 'Cause he got
Wow, I love. I did not know this was a fucking.
I'm glad
thing.
you know that episode.
Yeah.
Vicky, you knew all about this.
Oh, yeah.
I love it. This is great. Okay, well, congratulations,
Thank
brother.
you. Thank you.
Film it. Let's fucking throw a party. Let's
All
get
right.
some pierogies up in here.
All right.
Well, weirdos, thank you. Vicky, you want to, you know what? If anyone wants a reading or wants to get a hold of you.
Yeah, if they want a reading or an investigation, email me at Nancy, Nancy, 38Drew, DREW, at AOL.com.
And I do want to end the podcast with our local musician. We're getting a lot of great feedback on that. We are going to have the all of the songs on a playlist on YouTube. We're just waiting for a couple more songs to come in, and that will be available. Look for Weird and Whatever songs for the playlist. That'll be up in the
Ooh.
next couple days.
Yeah.
I like that.
Featured
This
artist.
week is going to be a guy we used to work with. His name's Ricky Bobby.
Oh yeah.
His band's The Shake. This song's called Fire. This guy's a very talented musician. Very, very good. This is his band. Y'all, thank you guys for listening. We really do appreciate it. We love you all. And
Bigfoot is real.
Rah!
Yeah, do you wanna? Do you want
Start it over, Dennis.
Yeah, do you wanna? Do you wanna smoke some fire marijuana? Yeah, do you wanna? Just forget about the drama, smoke some fire marijuana. Oh! Da 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 da. Yeah, the world is crumbling down, oh baby, what are you gonna do? All you can do is be human, all you can do is be true. Cause the curtain call at the end of the show is for me and you. So settle down and listen for the sound of the spark. Cause I'm passing it to you, oh yeah. Do you wanna smoke some fire marijuana? Yeah, do you wanna just forget about the drama, smoke some fire marijuana? Oh, da 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 da. Maybe one day we could just put all of this behind. Take a moment to breathe and finally feel like we're fine. But another newsreel keeps pushing back all that time. So here we go, fire to the dome. Oh, I guess we're sleeping through the night. Oh yeah, do you wanna smoke some fire marijuana? Yeah, do you wanna just forget about the drama, smoke some fire